brand new episode of Spoon Stuff Stories is out now. If you want to hear me do a voice acting with Mrs. Six non-stop animations in a fun fantasy story, check it out from the link in the description. Darwin to Jesus? And why is it flashing? And which one is Darwin / which one is Jesus? I'm thinking that it's this guy, but it's so hard to tell, especially with that mofo in the way. Anyway, quite the channel name. I can only assume this is one of them people who think that believing in evolutionary biology to be the fact that it is means one is an atheist automatically, and that you can't believe in G-Dog if you have an accurate understanding of the universe, which, well, hey man, you said it, not me. So, what are we talking about today?
When I was a child, I used to play my father at chess all the time.
Lame! When I was a child, I used to play my father at Shut the Hell Up and Get Me a Beer. I was so good at that game. Anyway, what's that got to do with the title of the video? Why doesn't God make sense? I mean, unless the twist is that your dad is God, then sure, it would make sense that it doesn't make sense. Because, you know, God doesn't know how to play chess. He just knocks over the pieces and shouts Yahtzee every time because he's a fucking idiot.
He would always win.
Okay, so not God then, and good job this guy's dad. You put that little shit right in his place. As all good parents know, you should always strive to completely obliterate your child at every game you play together, so that they won't get the satisfaction of winning or any ideas of being better than you, or even have long enough to actually learn and understand the game and enjoy it. There's nothing worse than teaching your kids to be competent and thus an actual enjoyable challenge for you. How is that supposed to make you feel superior to them?
I thought he was a god of chess. I remember the first time I beat him.
You thought he was a god of chess? Well, then you were a bit of an idiot child. Although, that's no reason for you to beat him. Violence is never the solution to any problem, even if you are too stupid to form simple sentences and think that the only person you know must be the best at a game you don't understand how to play properly. You could instead try interpretive dance.
I thought I was now the best chess player on Earth.
Wow. Not really doing yourself any favors for demonstrating your intellect, are you, buddy? When we get to whatever the point of your chess analogy is for, I'm guessing it's not going to be anywhere near as smart as you think it is. And we are talking light years of distance apart.
I kept playing chess, and I soon found out that neither me nor my father were really very good. But I stuck with it, and I still play to this day.
And I still suck so hard at the game when I play against anyone even remotely competent at it. They are baffled by my constant illegal moves and the fact that I call the knight the long dog face, the bishop a scale replica of my PP, and the king hat guy.
One of the things I've learned as a long-time chess player is how odd chess engines behave.
Chess engines, you mean the software and or computers designed to play chess as well as possible. Yeah, those things are pretty wild. You know, a human hasn't beaten one in like a decade and a half. I remember way back when people thought, yeah, computers are kind of good at the game, but they'll never beat the masters. Now they frickin' trounce them. That'll teach people for becoming the best in the world at an extremely deep game that's been played forever. I have a computer, that means that I win. Also, okay, I think I might know where this is going from that small thing alone, but let's see, shall we? Wouldn't want to be embarrassing myself by being wrong. That's clearly what this guy is planning on doing.
In 1997, Garry Kasparov was beaten by a chess engine called Deep Blue. That was 26 years ago. Today, the best chess engines can beat our best human players without even trying.
Trying? I don't think that's how computers work. Effort isn't really something they do. And yeah, the best players in the world can think multiple moves ahead and strategize based on many configurations the board could be in. But a computer has the ability to plan millions, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of moves ahead, to the point where basically any and all possible results will be accounted for in whatever move they are about to take. Also known as cheating. I mean, that's like taking a test and knowing all the answers beforehand by like studying and learning things. And we all know only an idiot would do that. You got to pretend you know all the answers, and if anyone disagrees, you just tell them they hate Jesus or something.
Most people know that, But what they don't know is that the chess engines behave really strangely when they play.
I mean, honestly, I didn't actually know that before this video. The chess thing was a big deal in the Kasparov time, but after that, it didn't really turn up for me. However, I am, of course, completely unsurprised, since that's the thing about computers. They only ever get faster. So, of course, they were going to get to the point where they were so far ahead, there was nothing someone could do to win with any kind of consistency against them. Throw in the advances in artificial intelligence and yeah, it's just not going to happen.
What I mean is that these engines will very often make bizarre moves that to us humans, even the best human players, look absolutely terrible.
If I knew it was coming from a computer, I wouldn't see it as strange or terrible. It's more that they are doing some things that the only way a person could do so would be to spend a huge amount of time going through all the possibilities, which is not something that a person could do quickly or without computers of their own. Although, I would be interested to see what a bunch of people could do against a single computer all playing together against it. That could be pretty cool to see. Don't know if they'd win, but yeah.
They make moves that great players wouldn't even consider because they look so absurd.
Right, so yeah, I think he's going for people say God do silly shit, and computers do things that don't make sense when they are playing so well that you just couldn't understand, so God must be doing a universe real good. And while I get your point, it's really, really dumb. For one, we have a metric for understanding what the computers are doing, and we can figure out the whys and whatever they did after the fact. Because, you know, they win a chess game, which, regardless of its complexity, is still ultimately a simple and limited game when compared to the fucking universe.
They make moves so bad that if you didn't know who was playing, you'd think it was a 3-year-old.
Yeah, if goddamn real, he does seem to do things that would make sense only if he had the mental capacity and self-awareness of a toddler. I mean, if we go by Bible shit alone, he's selfish, capricious, and does things in ways, if one were all-powerful, make literally zero sense, if he has any intellect whatsoever. But if he was a toddler, smashing his toys together and giggling like an idiot, then sure, maybe it does make sense. Doesn't mean that they are good or smart or the right things to do.
But when the best human chess players in the world see these terrible looking moves, do they say, that engine must not know how to play chess?
No, because again, we can see the results. We can understand what's going on ultimately. We can map out the games and know what happened. The moves make sense for the intended goal. Now, if their goals were hidden from us and they made moves that didn't make sense and they, lost, they would end up what we call really shit at chess. And your analogy would both actually line up with what you're going for and then immediately crumble to pieces because, yeah.
No, they don't say that.
They probably don't say anything because they're too busy getting laid, because everyone knows chess is the sexiest hobby of all time. I mean, no one studies chess because they want to actually beat people at a fucking boring ass board game, or that they enjoy that shit. So that's gotta be the reason why, right?
What they say is, I have no idea why that chess engine made that move, but I know it had good reasons.
I bet they don't say that at all. In fact, I bet they actually sit down and figure it out. They likely study the moves so that they might figure out a way to integrate that playstyle into their games, so they can fucking dominate other players. In fact, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what they use chess engines for. They play against them to learn more about the game. This idea that they just throw their hands up in the air and go, well, Deep Blue moves in mysterious ways, is just exactly what I would imagine an extremely intellectually lazy person would do when they see something they don't yet understand. Because understanding things is work, and it's much, much easier to pretend that no one could understand things than it is to not be a fucking moron.
And let's try and figure out why that is the best move.
Oh good, so you do understand that, but you know that they can do that. That is the difference between a chess engine and, Jesus or whatever. The moves do make sense when analysed, but the moves of God, no matter how hard you study them, they make no fucking sense. It's almost as if there was no sense to be made of them.
In other words, the greatest chess players have a sort of faith. They trust in the chess engine's ability to play chess, even though it appears to conflict with everything they know about chess.
That is absolutely idiotic. It would be faith if they watched the chess engine play badly and crash and burn, and then they said, he must know what he's doing, and then studied its piss-poor performance in the hope that somehow it playing horribly would magically make them better. It's weird because you just keep coming shy of the analogies that actually fit what you are going for, but miss and leave you with garbage. Of course, if you did hit them, I think you would understand how this whole thing makes less sense than God sacrificing himself to himself in order to save us all from the punishment he invented and forces us to suffer because of his bad parenting. That's not fair. Nothing makes less sense than that shit.
The ability of the chess engine to play chess is never in question.
I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure that there are plenty of crappy chess engines designed by idiots. In fact, I'm pretty sure if I tried to make one, it would play chess way worse than I ever could, because much as I suck at chess, I really suck at programming. That's why my robotic death engines are so terrible at their jobs. No, stop rescuing the orphans and stomp on them, you useless bastard!
Now, as humans, when we read the Bible, so much of what God does makes no sense to our human understanding.
Yep, I fucking knew it. And hell, it's even less good than the version I was giving him. I mean, if he wanted to play it, things in the universe don't make sense. If God is supposed to be all good, all powerful, etc., but we just don't know. That's an argument, sort of. Still not very good, but it's at least something. But the Bible, we know the Bible was written by people. That's a straight up fact. And the things that God does in the Bible make perfect sense if you consider the fact that the Bible was written by people, especially ancient people who hadn't mastered character writing and all that shit. Yeah, he's going to be a messed up, self-contradictory idiot. And the things he does are often not going to be thought out all the way through, because most of it is written piecemeal and then all stuck together. Continuity be damned. The only reason the Bible doesn't make sense to you is because you think it's true. Once you realize it isn't, it makes way more sense.
I'll admit, I don't understand why God uses men to bring us his word.
Well, there's a few possibilities. Maybe it's because that's the best way an all-power boy could do that. Perhaps writing down the things he wants in ways that can be interpreted and reinterpreted and misinterpreted in an incredible number of ways, so no one knows what the fuck he wants, is the best way to do that. Or, maybe it's because they were making it up and God doesn't fucking exist. It's one of those two for sure. But which one? Humdy fucking hum.
Or why he used a specific group of men, the Jews, to give us that word.
That one is really baffling. Hey, you guys, you're my chosen people and I am going to love you forever. But you know what? Me, God, perfect planet type guy, I just changed my mind and you are now not that. And you're going to hell, which I invented after you lot because fuck me if I'm going to be consistent, right?
Or why he allowed the snake to tempt Eve.
You really need to sit down and understand that these really stupid story arcs are just that. Stupid stories that people wrote because, religions are 90% tall tales. And if they are stories, then they don't make sense because they're badly written. And if they are badly written, it doesn't mean that you don't understand that. It's because you do, and you are smarter than the people who wrote them, more than likely, seeing as you have the benefit of an education and an understanding of how story works and the entire internet to help point out the shit that you would have otherwise missed. Come on, man, you're so close.
A lot of things I read don't make sense to me, but should it?
Fucking yes! If you are reading something that doesn't make sense to you, then if you give a shit about that thing, you should find a way to make it make sense, whether that be through study or reflection or whatever. But if you find that it still doesn't make sense, and that the explanations that people give don't add up, and that very smart people tell you that it doesn't make any sense, then you shouldn't just believe it for no freaking reason.
If a chess engine seems bizarrely stupid to us when it plays chess because it's on a level so much higher than we are, why would God be any different?
Because God is shit at chess. And you know everything else apparently. Again, it's a terrible analogy because one is a thing that we can understand because apart from the fact that we literally make them, we can understand what they do. You said it yourself. But the things God does don't make any sense no matter how hard we study them, and not because they are so smart they're beyond us, but because they are far, far, far too stupid to understand.
God is the most high-level being it is possible to be, by definition.
And he's also make-believe, so he doesn't exist, by definition. Anyway, my buddy, Mighty Steve, is always a +1 higher being than any god you can come up with. So anything he does, no matter how little it makes sense, always makes more sense than anything your god does by definition. You can't define things into existing, mate. That's not how it works. Been trying to cause an infinite whiskey bottle my whole life. All I keep ending up doing is making a half-infinite whiskey bottle, which just isn't good enough, obviously.
So should we expect to understand all of his ways? Of course not.
Why? Why should we not expect a God that wants very specific things from us to make it really clear what he's doing and why, especially when the stakes for not understanding are so high? Only an evil God or a God that's not all powerful or a God that isn't fucking there makes sense by not making sense.
A chess engine is still playing chess with the same rules and the same logic, but it plays at such a high level, it appears to us to be doing neither. If God exists, wouldn't his ways also seem strange and silly to us?
No, you've completely lost the plot now. God plays by the same rules and logic. No, he doesn't. And if he did, then he's not all-powerful or anything. And frankly, this entire video is just one long rambling argument from ignorance. God is real because nothing he does makes any sense. Brilliant.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstar Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the